Good morning. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Season Gaming Bitcast, episode 164. It's a beautiful Sunday morning here, and we've got Halo to talk about, my friends. But we've got a lot of topics to get through today. Well, not too many topics. It's kind of news, kind of a quiet news week, but we do have some big things to touch on. So, of course, you've got myself, Ainsley Bowden, Mr. Porsche Power. You've got to my right, Mr. Tie Guy Travis. Good morning, sir. I know it's early for you.
McClunky. Good morning.
You're gonna have to tell me the full context of that because I'm not there yet.
One day.
Okay. One day. When will you earn it, right?
I'm just gonna start using that word.
The real reason is it just takes so long to explain why I say McClunky on shows, but I love it. So.
We'll just interject it to like just middle of like a really deep, take.
There you go.
On Halo.
Perfect.
And of course, Mr. Dan Rodriguez, the Seven himself.
That's right, baby. I'm here. That's all I can say this Sunday morning. So, ready to go.
Hopefully the headache is fading.
It's getting there.
Okay, good. Well, good morning, everyone. Chat, what's going on? Obviously, our audio listeners coming in later. Thank you as always. So today, we're going to talk quite a bit of Halo Infinite, or I should say Travis and I are going to talk Halo Infinite. Dan's going to interject here and there and ask us some questions about it. So we'll see what happens there. We're going to touch on PlayStation and Xbox fiscal results, which, again, continue to be impressive. We've got Horizon Zero Dawn reportedly being delayed. We've got a new studio, which seems to be loaded with potential. And we also, of course, will touch on Activision and Ubisoft continued allegations, as those stories continue to develop. So, guys, before we get into kind of the big topics, though, why don't we talk about currently playing? I've got a couple things outside of Halo, of course, because we'll cover that in the main topic. But what's kind of been in the rotation? Anything good you want to speak to?
I got Dan's on myself. Yep, as usual. Not much. Like I've been basically playing the same stuff as I was last week. It was State of Decay. It was, Hitman came out with the new DLC with their season of whatever it is. It's Lust, I think, this time. So played through some of that. Still doing that, and then I was able to play some of the Ascent.
Okay.
And you did the review for us. I'll let you talk about it, but I think we probably share similar views on it. It was not what I was expecting, I guess.
Yeah. Travis, anything good, man? What you been up to?
Yeah, I finally made time for Death's Door. Nice. So I played like the first third of that, I'm assuming, and really liked it. I knew I would like it. It was just a matter of me getting around to actually playing it. So I did that, and then I'm still working my way through Ace Attorney. The new Ace Attorney game on the Switch, which is fantastic.
I know. I'm tempted to do it, but I don't know if I'm going to get into it. I'll have to appease you one of these days and give it a try.
Just try Dual Destinies. That's the one I started with.
Dual Destinies. Is it on Switch as well?
That one, I think you play on your phone would be the recommended device because the alternative.
You're already losing me.
But the alternative is you played on the 3DS, which
you've lost me completely.
They have to port it to the Switch eventually, you assume, but like actually playing it on your phone isn't that bad because it's just a game where you're like tapping, right? It's like reading a book more or less. So it's really not that bad on your phone. It's not like you're like controlling or shooting or whatever on your phone or anything that requires dexterity. But I reviewed an Ace Attorney game and I had never played any of them, and I just became addicted and went back and played all the other ones. So it's one of those franchises I never expected to love, but I'm obsessed with it now. So
yeah, that's cool, man. That's cool. So what do you think about Death's Door so far?
I like it. It really reminds me of like old school Zelda. It kind of reminds me of what was that 3DS Zelda they released? It was the original, the top down original one that came out like
not Link's Awakening, not the Switch one.
No, I'm talking about, it was in the style of Link's Awakening, but it was a brand new game, and they released it like near the end of the 3DS life cycle. I can't remember the name of it, but it was a really good game, and this sort of gives me the same vibes.
Nice.
I'm only like a third way through it. I killed that witch lady, but like that's where I'm at with it. But it's one of those games I knew I would love it if I had a chance to play it, but with everything else going on, all the reviews, and then Now I'm able to play Halo. It's just I'm playing in pieces, so I'll get through it eventually. But it's on my backlog, as is the Ascent, which I haven't had time to even open yet. But that's on my backlog. So
yeah, so I can talk to Ascent. Yeah, what happened was I got home from vacation. I started Death's Door, got about a little further than you. I'm actually about to go to the boss of the second kind of main area, which is the Frog King, I believe. Really like it as well, but then I got had to review the Ascent. So the Ascent, I know reviews are out now. I gave it a 7, which is a good game. I will remind everyone, it means it's a good game. But it definitely, it has some faults, and sadly, I think the faults are the larger things in the game, right? So the environments are stunning. Combat's really fun. I mean, the lighting, the particle effects, kind of everything to do with the environment and kind of everything in combat scenarios is really, really well done. But for me, why they advertised it as a loot-based ARPG, I don't know. It's just not. Yes, you do get loot, but the variety of kind of like builds, min-maxing, none of that's there. There's no there's no randomization to gun drops. You get the gun one time, you've seen it permanently. You'll get it another 100 times, but it's the same exact gun. And things like that. And then the story, the story is kind of bland. Your character has no dialogue, no emotion, just stands there in every cutscene. So it's, those are kind of big faults, right? You're talking about an ARPG that has a kind of mediocre loot and not a great story. You're left with pretty much an isometric shooter, and it's a very good shooter. But I don't know why they advertise it the way they did. So, but regardless, good game, just not, sadly, as Dan kind of said, not what I was really hoping for. I was very excited for that game, and it just kind of fell flat in a few areas. And that's before getting to a lot of the bugs. So there's some very annoying things. I saw the day one patch, which came out the night before launch, of course, after I had finished the game. It it fixed a few things I noticed, but there's still, like, the map is horrendous. And there's just like little things that will just drive you crazy. One of them being there's no level scaling either in an ARPG. So you'll fight level 2 enemies, you'll turn a corner and there'll be 15. Or, the final mission I had when I was a level 20.
I like that, actually. I like the not scaling. It reminds me of like Fallout New Vegas, where you could go certain places, but you would just get whooped if you weren't careful. So
I agree with you, because Borderlands can be like that too. However, there's no indication of what that is. And sometimes some of the missions take you on specific areas, right? So you have to go you're in a locked area and you'll die. And just between deaths in that area, they'll rapidly change. So it'll be like, there was an end area where I was fighting where there were 24s. And then they were 22s, which I was picking apart. Then they were 30s, then they were 28s. You know what I mean? It's all over the place. It doesn't seem like it's implemented properly. So
it's not zoned out correctly.
No. So, but again, it's a 12-person team. It's their first game. First game as a studio. They're obviously very talented developers. And I think there's a ton of potential there. The core, the foundation they have there is very, very good. So I hope they, I hope this is successful for them. I hope they get more funding, and I hope they're able to kind of staff up and just, continue to build upon it. So
it looks, like it's gorgeous. It's such a good looking game. That's I think part of why I was so disappointed with it as well. It was just, I think my expectations were Diablo in Cyberpunk. So I mean that's pretty high. So
it's a pretty high expectation for a 12-person studio.
So right, for a 12-person studio that this is their first game, but I mean I knew also that it wasn't going to be something that was going to shake the foundation of the industry, but at the same time there was some problems for sure, and I was just like, man, this could have been really, really, really good, but still enjoyable for what I played with it, but it's going to be another one of those games where I'm halfway through and I'm just like,
Well, the other problem you have, Dan, is right, like the environments, as beautiful as they are, it doesn't change a lot once you've played a couple hours, right? There's a few other places you go briefly for some stories that look a little different, but for the most part, you've kind of seen the city at this point. And the story picks up very slightly. There's some cool side characters later in the game, but again, it's not meaningful. It doesn't really, you're not invested in it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
No, I know I'm not.
So, the other thing I wanted to quickly touch on was a game called Eldest Souls, a very small indie studio. As you can tell by the name, it's a play on Dark Souls and Elden Ring, probably. It's a pixel art 2D kind of Souls game. And man, I mean, it's not just an homage to Souls. They pretty much take every aspect of it and put it in a pixel art 2D game, but it's actually surprisingly fun. I've had a good time with it. I'm only a little ways into it, but I've beat a few bosses. It's got a cool skill tree, cool abilities. The art style is really nice. It's got some really nice kind of I'm trying to think of the best word here. Really nice kind of not just homages, but kind of music touches and writing touches, and items are kind of written like they are in the Souls games, kind of be meaningful and kind of deep, if you will. So it's pretty neat. It's pretty neat. So I think I may throw up a quick review of that here in the next week or two when I have time to finish it up. But
is that already out, or you've?
It is out. It is. Yeah. So actually, I didn't even know about it until I got the kind of PR email that it was out. You know what I mean? And then I was like, oh, this looks kind of cool. So I got a copy, but it had already released. So it did release this week. And I'm pretty sure it's on Xbox, Switch, PS. I think it's on everything.
Yeah. So. Now that you're mentioning it, I definitely saw it. And I think I may have even bought it, but I just haven't. I own so many games I haven't even opened. So
yeah, I think it's one of those, I don't know the price off the top of my head. It can't be too much, right? Probably a 14 or 15 or $20.
I think it was $20.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes sense. So, but it is neat. It is neat. So, all right. Want to touch a quick update here, guys. And I don't know if there's anything further you kind of wanted to mention on this. But we did see more things that continued with, the allegations against Activision and Ubisoft. Activision had the organized walkout this week, which it looked to be, a large number of people participated in, which is great. And we heard the details of, I don't even really want to talk about it, but this whole Cosby Room thing, which is just atrocious. And some of the stuff that's come out about it is almost unfathomable. Like, I don't understand how this could ever go on anywhere. Of course, we know it does, right?
It's so public. It was on their Facebook posts and stuff, which is
it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Which just goes to show you that they felt, for lack of a better phrase, above the law, right? Like, it feels like they know they can just do this and it doesn't matter, which is scary. So I don't know if you guys wanted to add anything here or if you've seen anything I may not have, but kind of bringing this up. And I hope that any, smaller developers or anyone listening, just know you have our support in pushing this conversation forward. I did see people, I know Phil Spencer made a comment this week about, obviously, Xbox and his organization. I know other CEOs have done the same. And I just hope that this brings enough attention to it to actually create some meaningful change and not just a conversation that dissipates over the next several weeks until, nothing happens, which coincidentally seems to be what has happened at Ubisoft. So they apparently did this kind of formal investigation last year and made changes, and just further confirmation this week that it doesn't seem to have done that. In fact, a report out of Game Informer from Liana over there, who does really good work, said that they were reached out to, and many employees got together and basically said that Yves, the CEO of Ubisoft, has basically sidelined any of this kind of formal request to make changes, that nothing's really happened at Ubisoft. So just continues to be disappointing. And I think we just all as a community need to keep talking about it.
Yeah, it's disgusting, man. I mean, that's really the bottom line. Is I didn't know much about this Cosby Room. I just heard it mentioned. I saw the pictures, and I don't understand. I still don't understand. That's just where they took women, and they advertised it. I mean, how is that even remotely something that even happens? I mean, I don't understand.
I don't know.
I mean, do women actually go up there? I mean, it's
my guess is it's more of that frat boy culture they were talking about, where it probably was perceived as a joke, but it also hints at kind of the attitude of the company, right? It's it's one of those things where Yeah, if you look at their Facebook posts where they're like openly talking about it, like you can tell that they all think like, oh, this is a joke, but none of them are thinking like, how could this reflect on the company, and does this actually mean that maybe we do have a problem and that sort of thing. So I don't know that it was like being used in the manner that they said it as, but the fact that that was even like a meme at the company among employees kind of says all you need to know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess my takeaway from this since last week is, whether it's this issue or the issue of crunch in gaming, or, all the, the turnover once a game comes out and employees have to get cut because they're not working on a game anymore. All these issues, I think, show that, we need unions in the games industry, like pretty bad. I think these companies need the ability to bargain collectively, and not just at the company level, but at the industry level. I think there's a lot of issues that employees in the games industry share, and because of the unique landscape that is the games industry, and I just think we need these people need to be able to advocate for themselves. I think we'll get through it. Like this is part of the process, right? This is how progress happens, is in times of need. So
yeah, exactly. And in fact, there's so many not little, but there's so many different accounts here that we could cover. I know someone that worked at Activision had come out and written this very, very long post naming specific executives who had just a history, and I was shocked, a history of very kind of strong / negative political beliefs and support, and all kinds of things going on like that. So it's very crazy to see those type of people at the head of Activision, and it makes you it kind of, I won't say it explains, it certainly doesn't excuse, but it's weird to see those type of people heading up a video game company. And it's just a reminder that a company like Activision, right, is a multi-billion-dollar company that has some very bad people, sadly, within it and running aspects of it. So the way she phrased it, I don't know if you saw this, and I forget, I'm sorry who it was and what it was, but the way she phrased it is the only way you're going to see meaningful change here is literally a cleaning house and just, really kind of starting over from an organizational aspect, which sadly, I can tell you is probably not going to happen. Not unless there's federal charges, some type of actual legal charges.
So there's going to at least be statewide charges. So
yeah, exactly.
At the state level. This sort of thing, this was like bound to happen, whether it was the crunch issue or what's happening now. Like there's a lot of stuff, especially in California. Most of the games in America are made in California, and we got problems in this industry.
Yeah.
So
so I just noticed while we were talking there that YouTube crashed briefly. So I don't know what happened to our live feed here. Hopefully it looks to be back now, but it crashed for about a couple minutes there, which is, I don't know what happened. So
Sundays.
So sorry about that. If you're watching here with us live in the chat, I see the chat kind of died because of it. So we'll keep going, obviously, but hopefully it okay, Jordan says we're back now. Yeah, sorry about that. We didn't do anything. I will let our service
we all made incredibly poignant and industry changing comments during that brief gap.
That was probably Activision just sabotaging us right there. That's what it was.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So we'll continue to touch on that, but I think it's an important topic, and like I said, we'll just keep talking about it. So let's get to the main topic today, which is and has to be the Halo Infinite tech preview. Now I think for this, Travis and I'll probably sit back and let Dan give his probably 20-30 minute talk.
Yeah.
You think, Dan?
Yeah, sure, I can do that. Yeah. This is where I go sleep on my couch for 20-30 minutes.
Who hurt you? No. What's wrong with you? It's Halo.
Yeah, it's Halo.
It's Halo, Dan.
And Halo's back in a big way. So I have been playing, Travis, I don't know about you. I know we're going to get some games in later today. But I did start Thursday night. Thursday night from a server side perspective was a little rough, right? That was the very start of it, and they were working through some things. But I did get plenty of games in. I have done very little over the past 2 days, but core responsibilities, eating, some sleep here and there, and playing Halo. As I told you before we started, it doesn't keep track, but I promise you I have over 100 matches in it already. I've played a lot of hours already. And there's so much I can say. So why don't we start with our overall thoughts as a whole, and then we'll kind of go into some of the details that I think are important to call out for kind of, core Halo people. So overall, obviously server, connection issues, anything you have with your parties, expected, right? Tech preview, we're 6 months from launch. We'll leave that to the side. Core gameplay. I will tell you, Travis, I don't know about you, but as someone who has several hundred hours in Halo 5, not having thrust and being able to quickly dash any direction, I'm still hitting the button after 100 plus matches here where
I'm not. Yeah.
Every once in a while I'll hit it and I'm like, oh, I'm not going anywhere. But outside, once I got used to that, the fluidity of the movement, the way it looks and feels is honestly almost feels like Halo perfected to me. It feels like a perfect blend of modern Halo with old. And I think in a tweet I put out, it feels like it has the majority of the mechanics, the feel, the fluidity of Halo 5, while having these kind of feeling from a balance perspective, more like Halo 2. And to me, that's like the perfect cocktail. I mean, that's what I've always kind of envisioned Halo to be over the past few years, as we've talked about what Infinite can be. What do you think?
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to disagree with that. I mean, I'll start here. It says a lot about Halo Infinite so far that there's several things I don't like philosophically that are in the multiplayer.
Okay.
That don't bother me. That haven't bothered me.
Okay.
For one, the fact that we have unlimited sprint and that there's no penalty for sprinting.
Yes.
Your shields
return while you sprint. Yes.
That is something that I thought if they do that, it's over, because I saw it happen in Halo 4. I thought Halo 5's solution of like penalizing you for sprinting was the perfect middle ground.
Yes. And I agreed with you.
Yeah, and I think we talked about this last time we talked about Halo, and we were like, yeah, they gotta have a solution there. And I think they're like, nah. They're just like, no, we're just gonna put sprint in there, and somehow it hasn't really bothered me, and I don't know why. I mean, Halo 4, it was like the worst thing ever, and whenever I saw people sprinting in Halo 5, I'd roll my eyes and be like, "You noob, I'm gonna kill you." And in Halo Infinite so far, maybe it's because I'm just playing against bots and I've had no measure of difficulty whatsoever. Maybe that's part of it. I'm also not playing against people who are just abusing sprint. That's another thing, right? Like, we're not seeing that.
The other thing is, sorry to interrupt you, but the other thing is the gap between base movement speed and sprint is much smaller.
That's true. Yeah,
so,
you cannot fly across the map, so that maybe they're just giving you a slight,
it is faster, but it's not a lot.
Slight movement speed, but they're mostly just putting it there so that you feel like you're sprinting, right? Because you want to feel like you're moving quicker. That's sort of like a Destiny trick too. Is like when you're running, you're kind of not that much faster, but they're like, yeah, you're faster. But yeah, that like stuff like that are in Halo Infinite that I thought I would just be like, nah, that can't be in a Halo game. Hasn't really bothered me. The item dropping stuff has been like surprisingly well designed. The grapple hook, my God, dude, that thing, it just changes the whole game. I love that the Needler is a power weapon again.
As Brett said in the chat, fear the pink mist.
Oh, dude, it's so good. And actually, pro tip, I'm pretty sure I've not played as many hours as you, but I was using the Needler yesterday, and I think when you get enough needles inside the opponent, it gives you a small indicator so that you don't have to shoot at that guy anymore. He's going to pop.
Ah, okay. Like,
and then you can just turn. So like, because I was the super combine, right? I was shooting at one guy, and I haven't looked at the recording yet, but I had like there was some sort of like spark on the reticle, and then I turned to somebody else and I did the same thing, and that guy blew up while I was shooting the second guy.
Yes,
and I was like, that's really smart. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like you said, it's like it does feel like Halo perfected so far. The big caveat here is that we haven't seen PvP. We've only seen PvE, and I think that might be slanting some of our perceptions of how things work, because it's really fun to play against a bot and be like, I'm a badass. But if you're going up against a better team and they're using some of the weapons that maybe are a little more exploitive, or they're abusing sprint or using gadgets on you and you know, being really cheesy, it can feel very different in that world. So I'm interested to see how it works, but so far my impressions are just like, it's back. I mean, I don't think it ever left personally.
No, it never
Halo
left.
5 Guardians was awesome, and from multiplayer perspective, I do not have your problem of hitting the dash button. I have played more Halo Master Chief Collection in the past year than I have Halo 5 Guardians, so it has not been a problem for me.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I'm with you. It's been absolutely fantastic so far, and it's such a small bite of what we're getting in the game.
Yes.
Which that's the part that blows me away. Is like, we basically have experienced nothing, and we're all gushing. It's kind of crazy. But yeah, I'm loving it.
Yeah, in fact, funny enough, Dan Beast Mode in the chat says, "Can't watch this cruelty discussing Halo with Dan, just watching on."
I can't do it. Well, let me ask you guys a question then. How much different are the mechanics in general as compared to like Halo 5? You know, are they very, very similar? Like what I want to know is like, how do you think this is going to translate into that single player experience? You know, just between the two of them?
I don't really know how it'll translate into the single player experience, but what I can say, like my summary of how they've changed Halo from 5 to Infinite, is that they've pared down some of the fluff and the complexity in the Halo sandbox and really gone back to basics in terms of there aren't really a lot of rules or a lot of different weapon types or things you have to think about, but the stuff that's there is really well done and just so smooth. Such a crispy game. It's the smoothest shooter I've ever played. Like, it just, everything feels smooth, and I do not know what that means even, but it just feels so smooth in that game. And like, you know, they took away the dash, they took away the ground pound, they took away some of the, you know, Spartan abilities that gave the game multiple layers of stuff on it, but somehow that's all to its benefit. There's not really a lot to think about. It's just shoot your shots, control the map, make sure you're grabbing the power weapons, do call outs, work as a team. Everything is just, it's pure. It feels very pure as a Halo game. And you can't really say that about Halo 5. You can say Halo 5 is awesome, but it's not pure Halo.
Yeah.
And this is. And that's, I think, the main difference is they removed some of the stuff, and what they kept is just magical.
It's very well said. Yeah, Dan. I think exactly what Travis said there. It's almost indescribable. I think Travis described it the best way I could. I don't really have anything to add there. It's very, very fluid. Once you get a feel, first couple matches, I was like, okay, this feels fluid, but it feels different. You know what I mean? Like, it took a little acclimation. But now jumping in, I mean, one, it's gorgeous. And it's not even fully optimized yet, but it is gorgeous. The lighting, the details, the shadow, the effects on the weapons. I mean, it's stunning, Dan. It's already in HDR, already super smooth. It's gorgeous. But just everything just feels tight, if that makes sense. Sure. You know, you play a lot of shooters where it's like, this feels a little clunky. This isn't as responsive as I would like. What I'm trying to do on the screen isn't matching what I'm trying to do with my hands, right? All of that's not there. It just feels like you feel connected to the game in a way that other shooters just don't do. And it's something that Halo at its prime has always done. And debate all you want about modern Halos, and we're not going to get into that. And I agree with Travis. I love Halo 5. I thought Halo 5 was fantastic. I'll stand on the hill all day that Halo 5 is the best Halo MP there's been. Overall, when you look at it from a mechanic standpoint, I think Infinite, I'm 99% confident now that Infinite's going to be the best Halo's ever been.
So is there anything there, aside from Thrust, obviously, that you would like to see from any of the old games, I guess? You know, like is there something missing, you know, even if it's, you know, that intangible thing that maybe you can't put your finger on, you know, that you know, and does that thing, or you know, whatever it is that you don't have, overshadowed by what they've added? You know what I'm saying?
I don't think so. Not that I've seen so far. Now, again, to Travis's point, this is an incredibly small slice.
Right.
And in fact, I think one of the design directors, I forget his first, is it Dan or Cook, posted yesterday. He says, you know, it's great to see all this feedback and we love the reception, but he said this is an incredibly small piece of the experience that's coming this fall, which is, as Travis said, it's just crazy to think about, because literally, Dan, it was one map up until Saturday or Friday afternoon, excuse me. Then it was 2 maps. And then yesterday they added a 3rd map against bots only, right? I can't stop playing it. So it just goes to show you, when the full experience is out, you've got an open world campaign. You've got however many maps for the arena mode. You've got big team 12 on 12 with the vehicle suite we haven't seen yet. I'm honestly scared for my other responsibilities in life when this game releases, because you play those games where it's an indefinable quality of, it's just, there's something there you can't really completely touch on, but you can't stop playing it. It's just addicting. And Halo has always been that for me, in a lesser way, you know, as I've gotten older, but this is back full force for me.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I really can't describe it. It's like they captured nostalgia perfectly and modernized it without breaking it or making it feel like it's lesser, and like it just like inexplicably captures the way I felt when I first played Halo multiplayer.
Yeah.
It has captured that, and
like it feels like I'm a kid again playing.
Yeah, it makes me feel like that first time I crash landed on the first Halo ring, and I crept out of that skate pod, and I looked around, and or I did a split screen match with my brother when I was a kid and playing Halo. Like, it just captures that moment and makes it feel like it has a place in 2021. And I don't know what wizardry was involved in making that happen, but they nailed it so far. So yeah, I mean, that's the highest compliment I could play it. It's just they did it. The Mad Lads actually did it. So I'm just very excited to see like what else is in this game, because we've been saying, we haven't really seen anything yet.
Yeah. So chat, sorry, I'm so focused on the conversation with Travis and Dan on Halo specifically. I know there's a lot of people stopped in. So good morning. Thank you for coming out, everyone. A couple comments I'll touch on here. I see Pat's in the chat. So Pat, one of my good buddies, Halo content creator, incredible Halo player. I was trying my best to keep up with him last night. I was close, Pat, but So as he said here, Halo's gunplay focus instead of movement, advanced movement tactics, not as much as 5, which is kind of what we said. Dano says pure Halo game. Yes, as we said. Sadly, a few people in the chat saying they didn't get in. I know our buddy Jordan's in the chat, who a fantastic Halo player as well. We were all frustrated he didn't get in, so we'll make sure he does next time somehow. Beast Mode says, what are the odds on the next flighting having BTB, more weapons, and some select vehicles? I think they have to. I don't know if it'll be the next flight, because they said there's going to be multiple, right? But they have to, because you have to play out the 12 on 12 mechanics, match make 24 people, server structure, vehicle play. All that has to be tested ahead of time. So 100% that'll happen.
I think it'll happen. I think the next one's probably just PvP at a smaller scale.
I think so too.
Arena, something like that.
Yeah, I think so too. So let's talk weaponry real quick. One of the big things for me with Halo has always been the sound. They have unique weaponry and unique weapon sounds, whereas you play a lot of games. I always hate to just point at Call of Duty, because I don't mean to. It's just it's the top of mind. It's the top of the mountain. It just comes to mind. But they always feel like, okay, you've got an SMG, you've got an assault rifle, you've got an LMG, whatever. Okay, it's bang, 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 bang. You know what I mean? Like, and there's different sound and stuff, but Halo is very distinctive, and the sound in this game, from the battle rifle to the sniper to the skewer, the new weapon, everything feels distinct and impactful, and the chunkiness of the 3-round burst with the battle rifle is I swear I could just listen to it all day. And that's the weaponry without even going into the soundtrack, which literally there's people putting Infinite on the main menu, you know, of the flight and just letting it play because the music is so good, just letting it play in the background. So again, I think those aspects of it, which people expect from a Halo, and I think this is one of the core themes I want to touch on with both chat and you guys, is Halo. If you think about the biggest IPs in gaming, whether it be Zelda, Mario, Halo, whatever else you want to call out, right? God of War. There's certain expectations that the fan base has for each of those games. And it's like it needs to hit these notes for this to be a successful or a very good version of that game. When you think about Halo, I'm not saying this just because I'm a Halo fan, but truly think about it, right? The weight of expectations on this game that it has to deliver in so many different facets is incredible. It has to deliver an incredible Master Chief story. It now has to deliver a meaningful open world. It has to deliver the best multiplayer Halo's ever been, which, for God's sakes, Halo multiplayer is like, you know, it's one of the kings all time, but it's got to top that. The soundtrack has to be incredible. The mechanics have to be perfect. It has to have theater. It has to have Forge. You know what I mean? Think of the big IPs in gaming. What other game has so many facets that has to be nailed for the fan base to be happy? And I think even in this small slice, when you look at graphics, movement, gunplay, music, sound effects, everything that they've introduced to us so far, it's hitting them. And you never see the Halo community 100% together. There's always debate. There's always debate about something, right?
There's that old joke of what's the worst Halo game? The most recent one.
The most recent one, 100%.
Yeah. Everybody thinks that.
But I don't know about you guys, and it's anecdotal, I know. But even 343 people are commenting, like the support and the feedback and the positivity around this technical preview has been just, you know, monumental, right? I mean, it just feels like the Halo community has come together to say this is what we wanted. You've done it. Just continue down this path. This is amazing.
And yeah, there's a lot of pressure on, you know, 343 for, you know, to release this game in a state that, you know, is going to be, you know, that's going to blow everybody away. Everything I've seen on social media, and I have so much stuff muted that it doesn't even matter. Everything I've seen has been positive. I mean, everything. I haven't seen anybody say anything negative. I haven't even seen anybody complain about servers. So, I mean, as much as I give you guys some crap about Halo, it's one of those games where I played every single player experience. I played a little bit of multiplayer. I'm just not good. So it's nice to see, you know, and this is a humongous game. When I think of these big multiplayer games that have these that are just really robust, and Halo's probably on the top, only because there's so much that goes into it, and you see people like, you know, you guys, that, you know, it's not just, you know, bang bang, you're dead. There's so much that goes into it, and just from a tactical standpoint, you know, and everything else. And you know, it's cool to see that they're hitting all those notes, like you said. I'm excited for that fan base. I'm very excited to, you know, play the campaign. You know, I mean, this is one of those games. Halo 3 was that. You know, I got into gaming with my kids. I got, you know, the kids in the game. We played Forge for hours. You know, I let the kids do whatever they want, and then, you know, and it was always fun. I mean, it was never really good, but it was always fun. You know, and it's just one of those games and one of those franchises that's, you know, it's got a different meaning to me than maybe you guys, you know, but at the same time, it's just nice to see. You don't see technical alphas, you know, go off without a hitch like this very often anymore. Usually it's one thing or another. It's either servers are not even working. Sometimes it's unreleased. These, you know, things don't work. And so it's great. It's great to see.
Some finished games are like that too.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what he means. Yeah. Like this is literally running. It's not even worth a comparison, but this is, you know, you look at Outriders release, literal production release. and this blows it away. I mean, it's
So
not a good
bad.
comparison.
It's crazy.
So
Yeah.
I'll say, Ains, to what you were saying about the expectations that
Yes.
Halo Infinite has thrust on it, I would actually go even further and say Halo is actually the last first-person shooter that is expected to have both a good campaign and good multiplayer, and is liked by the fans for both of those things pretty much equally. There's none left.
Fair. Yeah,
Call of Duty is now all online. I mean, people, they have a campaign to their credit, but that's not why people buy that game.
Warzone's the biggest thing in Call of Duty right now.
Yeah, and it's sort of like there's been sides have been picked now in the FPS world. You're either fully story based like Wolfenstein, or you're fully multiplayer. And the games that do have, exactly. Battlefield's a great example of that. And the games that have both, their fans gravitate toward one or the other, and it's sort of seen as acceptable if the one that people don't care about isn't that good. Right. Halo is really the last one where there's an expectation. The campaign has to be God tier, 10 out of 10, Last of Us masterpiece, and the multiplayer has to be like absolutely flawless.
You're right.
It isn't Halo.
Yeah, exactly.
And that I would say that is a very unique prerequisite for Halo. Like it's just that's not something that is true of any other shooter.
And imagine if you're leading that studio, right? Like Bonnie Ross and all the other leaders over there, like the weight of expectations. And I mean, people forget, or people may not know that 343 Industries has over 500 employees, and they work on, I mean, obviously Halo is their IP, right? But I mean, a good majority of that works on the game. Some work on books and other things, but toys and stuff. But good percentage of this game, it's a huge effort, and that's before you talk about support studios that do all kinds of other work, on the game itself too. So it is a massive investment and undertaking. The funny thing is, and I'll get to your super chats in 1 second, guys. So we've heard, there's a couple things I just want to quickly joke about that the conversations have dissipated. So there's been rumblings for a couple years now of one, it's going to be on Xbox One, the core console. So that's going to hold it back. We've also heard of it's on a new engine, right? Which it is, Slip Space engine.
That part I was worried about. But yeah.
That's another thing. They've apparently spent $500 million developing this. Now that includes the engine, right? Supposedly the engine was like a $200 million investment, but still you're at hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars. However, I can promise you this game is going to make it back tenfold. When you look at the free-to-play multiplayer, the campaign, what it's going to do for Game Pass, the seasons, the battle passes, etc. Yeah, this game's going to be.
That's another thing people are already saying that they're going to be wrong about, which is that it's not going to make any money because it's on Game Pass, right? Or that the quality doesn't have to be there because it's on Game Pass, and
Warzone is free, and it's upwards of $2 billion that it's made in a year and a half. So
Halo's going to be, I think it'll be the most popular game this year. I think it has a shot at game of the year just based on what we've played of the sandbox so far and how ambitious it is. But obviously that's way too early to say just by how much we've played. But yeah, to your point, I think we were supposed to be talking about the weapons right now. It was that, like, if you ever had any questions of like, is 343 the successor to Bungie when it comes to Halo, or like, do they have any place making Halo games? Like, you can really see it in the DNA with the weapons, because that's something that Destiny has in common with Halo, is that the sound and the weapon design is just like so spot on and incredible, and it makes every weapon feel unique and it has personality to it. Yes. That's something that's true between Halo and Destiny. Also, sitting on the menu and listening to music, that's like something Destiny fans are known to do, and Halo fans do it too. So yeah. I think that, like, if there was any doubt of like, is 343 up to the task of like carrying on the legacy of Bungie, like that's been put to bed. Like, this game it feels so much like a Bungie game in the best possible way. So,
yeah, and you mean that fully as a compliment, 100%. Yeah,
I do. Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Even though I play Destiny, I mean,
I'm sorry. Let me get these chats real quick.
So Pampa, to be clear.
Pampa in the house is always supporting. Thank you, brother. And I've been playing a lot of the tech preview with Pampa. Halo. The gun sounds are just chef's kiss. Can't get enough. Hope you guys talk about your experiences with your AI. We're getting there. We still have more to say. Have a great Sunday, everyone. Hit the like button. And hashtag, that's an inside joke, but thank you, Pompa. Appreciate that, man. Fat Boy Horror in the house, always a big supporter. Thank you very much, man. That battle rifle sounds godlike on a Dolby Atmos soundbar, I'm sure. It's great. It has that perfect kind of chunkiness, like I said, to the 3-round burst. It's awesome. It's awesome. So, yeah, so a couple other nuances to the game that are new or want to touch on too, and Pompa just brought up one of them is the AI, which I didn't know what to think about that. At first, I thought, why would you add AI to your individual player? You know, it's cool, but that's not going to make a big difference. They are awesome. They are. So Dan, what this is there's we don't know how many of them there are right now because you don't get to pick. It's randomized in this preview, but when you start, you have your own personal AI that speaks to you like it's in your helmet, right? Like Cortana in the campaign that says stuff as the match is going on. So it'll announce like power weapons are getting ready to respawn, right? When they get to like a 30-second timer. If you make like a great play, they'll comment on it. You know, other things that may be going on.
And you're the only person that hears it?
Yes, it's individual for every player.
I'm just going to, that's badass.
That's
awesome. Really cool.
And the best part is they haven't taken it too seriously. So there's a sense of humor there. Like one of the women, I don't know if you saw any of the clips Pompa posted, but she said he killed someone with the skewer, and she said something like, "Let's all laugh together, ha ha ha," you know. And there's this sense of just it feels like you kind of have a partner in your head as you're playing. That's both meaningful because it does call out meaningful things that are going on in the match. It'll say when you're halfway to winning, when you're close to winning. Like I said, power weapons, things like that. But it'll also say other things. Like I know Brett, who was in the chat earlier, I don't know if he still is, but he posted a clip with one of the male voices, and he got a Needler kill. And one of the classic phrases for the Needler is "Fear the pink mist." And the announcer, you know, he goes, "Fear the pink mist," right after he killed someone with the Needler. And it's just a lot of touches like that it's just, again, emphasizing both the experience, but also it's the cherry on top for core Halo fans that know the nuances to this and why it's so kind of cool.
The AI is, I think, the thing they're probably going to make the most money off of, because who's not going to want every AI?
I'm going to want everyone.
Out?
Yeah,
I'm going to want everyone, dude. And they're probably going to have celebrity ones. I'm going to have like a Snoop Dogg AI, you know, going to be in my ear telling me that I'm dank or whatever when I kill people. You know, that's a foregone conclusion, I'm sure. So, yeah, I was really impressed by the AI so far, and I haven't even really tried out that many, but it gives you like a motivation to try new things and to hit certain milestones with that AI, because you want to hear how they're going to react. And yeah, it's been absolutely fantastic. That's definitely by far my favorite new addition that we've seen so far in the game, is just the AI, and it just refreshes so much about what we already love about Halo. So yeah,
and there's a ping system like Apex. You know, so you can ping weapons, you can ping enemies. There's new medals. I also, one of the tiny little touches, again, just touching on touches, is when you get to 40 kills and you get 10 away from winning, is that just very slight music that comes in. And it's just, it's perfect. Again, it's like this, you know, you're coming up to the end of the match, or you're about to win it or lose it for that matter. We don't know. Well, actually we don't know and losing it, because the bots, we've kind of won every match, but it's like, you know, it's this kind of hum, and it feels like you know, classic Halo music that's just slightly in the background, letting you know that the match is nearing completion. And it's just touches like that are just amazing, So I could go on. We could do an entire Halo roundtable, continue going, but you know, we've got other stuff to talk about.
We should probably talk about the maps, because that's the one area that I think there's room for improvement. So like the Bazaar level I really like, but that first map that they came out with, I can't remember the name of it, but Live Fire. That one I feel like was a weak start to the technical preview. That it feels a little.
Let's talk about it, because I like Live Fire, but I think Bazaar needs improvement.
Really?
Yeah. So
yeah, to me, the reason I like Bazaar is it has like a level of verticality that's really interesting for Halo games. It has that middle area that's sort of just like a kill zone. You know, it's like the hot center, and then there's lots of paths around it, and it just seems a little bit more intricate and strategic. Whereas Live Fire is very open. Like every area is just sort of like out there, and the lanes and kind of the way that you move around the map feels. Maybe I just haven't figured it out. I certainly haven't played as much as you, but my feeling on it, at least in that first day, was that this is a little forgettable as Halo maps go. I mean, that's a pretty high bar. Halo maps, multiplayer maps are usually very good, but the reason I like Bazaar is it made me feel more like, you know, Ascension, right? Like it reminded me of what's that map? I'm so bad at remembering Halo map names. Yeah, it kind of reminds me of Lockout, right? Okay. And Live Fire reminds me of like an area in the campaign, like one of the areas that I was fighting minions in the campaign that they just like put and made a multiplayer map. So that was just my thoughts on it. But I don't remember the second map, the one where you're indoors. Recharge.
That's actually my favorite of the three.
That one I really like because that has both. It has sort of open areas like Live Fire, but it also has the verticality and kind of some of the interesting paths like Bazaar. So I agree that one's really good. I haven't played that map enough, but I really like small details like where they show the energy sword in the trailer where the guy threw the grenade and it jumped out at him. That little platform where they keep the gravity hammer or the energy sword is so risky to like actually go to. You kind of have to use your grenade. Like that's like what it's designed for, because if you run out there and anybody comes around the corner, you're done. You have no cover, you have nothing. So
well, it made me I said it almost felt like a throwback to Ascension where you had to jump down to get rockets, except for not as protected, right? When you used to jump down to get rockets, it's kind of its own area, but it felt like an homage to that. But and you can grapple. I've grappled the hammer to me. So you run by, you go whoosh, grab it and keep running. It's nuts. But I think so. It sounds like we're far apart, but I don't think so. So I think Recharge is the best of the three because of exactly what you said. There's no hot spot necessarily. I mean, the middle, of course, you know, there's some things that go on, but the verticality is amazing. And just in general, the verticality of two of the three maps are kind of almost beyond what we normally see in a Halo game. But I like it because the movement, the way they create leveled movement through the maps, the ability to quickly clamber and kind of the avenues to get through them, really well designed. And
it reminds me of older Halo maps, the verticality, because you used to see it a lot in Combat Evolved in Halo 2 on their maps where they had like the multi floors or the elevators in Halo 2.
That's true. You had Ivory Tower, things like that.
Yeah, so it reminds me of old Halo maps, but you didn't really see it in Halo 4 or 5 in their maps. There wasn't a lot of verticality. So
not as much. And the nice thing, right, is compared to Halo 2 and classic Halo maps, we'll say, right, where you had to take an elevator or you had to run up ramps. You know, now you have the capability for much more seamless movement.
Thank God for clamoring. That's I'm so glad they kept that. Yeah,
it's the best. So Live Fire, I agree with you. It's definitely a more simple map. There's a lot less to it. I think what it's there for is it has broader sight lines. So you have the skewer on the map, you have the battle rifle, you have the sniper on that map, and you've got that little tower on the side where you can see left lane, center lane. You have an kind of cavern where you can cut across if you need to. And I think it just gives you those broader sight lines. Not as intricate, of course, as the other two, but I kind of like Live Fire. I really love Recharge. Bazaar, I really like. My only issue is it's beautiful. It has all these, again, kind of different levels, ways you can approach the map, just like you said. Love all that. I just think that because all the things we're talking about are on the outer edge, the center is kind of the kill zone, right? It feels like if you look at the heat map of that map, 95% of the deaths are going to be in the center. And whenever a map does that, it just feels like a lot of those cool designs on the outer space are wasted because the only time you're ever using them is to either escape or run somewhere. You're not actually experiencing combat in those areas. So I'll be interested to see if they keep it that way or not. I know they do a lot of heat map studies and everything else with these maps. So we'll see what happens. But it's beautiful. Joe's caps in the chat talk about the colors. Yeah, I mean, we kind of mentioned, I think, before you came in, Joe, but it's gorgeous, right? I mean, the lighting, the shadows, the the reload animations,
Easter eggs.
There's lots of Easter eggs. Yeah. I took a picture of the Master Chief poster, the recruitment poster on Bazaar.
There's the cheat code for Doom is on the wall on one of the maps. Yeah,
that's awesome. That's awesome. So yeah, I do like that the maps have more verticality and more kind of avenues. It feels like a nice mix of arena shooting with some of the more classic stuff as well. So really like it. Yeah. Anything else you want to add before we move on? Dan's chomping at the bit here.
Oh no, I'm
champing.
Not. Absolutely not.
I'm sorry. I could talk about Halo all day, and in fact, I would like to, but I feel bad sitting here with Dan.
No, go ahead. Listen, all I hear when you guys talk about it is like, especially to the level design. Like I have no idea what you're talking about. I don't play multiplayer games, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, Dana, especially if your sons get into it, the fact that it's going to have full Forge, right? And the fact that you can run custom games yourself against bots can make for a lot of fun instances, even if you just want to goof off, you know what I mean? Yeah. Because they're up to the 3rd level of bots now of 4. They're more intelligent than I've seen bots in a game. They make a lot of interesting plays that you wouldn't expect. But if you put it on the lowest level of bots, right, they're easy, very easy. So, anyone who's kind of learning Halo, I think it's going to be a very good tool. Or if you just want to goof off, and just blow bots up with power weapons.
Just play against bots, and then as you're killing them, kind of like do your own VO to make your own story, and you've got yourself a single player game.
Yeah. No. Yeah. So. I'm not even, the easiest level of bots is probably too much for me. It's probably
it really isn't.
No, trust me, Dan.
You would have to be completely brain dead to lose to the bots on the easiest difficulty. Like it's actually, you would have to be actively trying.
Now I'm sure my kids will get into it for sure. I mean that there's no doubt. I mean my oldest son just told me that he re-downloaded Master Chief Collection in preparation for Infinite coming. So
yeah. So
just get good, Dan.
No,
that's my recommendation.
I don't have time.
I've been telling them that for years.
I know you're not good.
Don't work.
Nope.
Get good.
I was good 20 years ago. I've left that life behind, and now I just sit on a recliner and play Hitman over and over.
Each their own.
So I think good to see everyone in the chat. What's going on? We got Stubbs. We got our NLG crew. We got Cybernox. What's going on, guys? What was I going to say? To your point, Dan, you said they downloaded Master Chief Collection in anticipation, and I think it was a very smart move by 343 to say stream this, share clips, pictures. There's no restrictions on this because one, they knew the game was ready to show to at least that level what was going to be there, and I think I can confidently say that I think you're still going to have the people who try Halo for the first time, go into PvP, get killed, slaughtered, and back away from it because it's not Call of Duty. It's not point and shoot. There's still a lot of mechanics there. It's deeper in that regard. But I think that between launching on PC and Xbox simultaneously, all Xboxes, Game Pass, how good the game is, and the hype around it, I think this is going to be a monstrous launch for this game. And I would not surprise me. I've said this previously, and now I'm more confident in it that we see 10 million players before the end of the year.
I mean, it's free to play, man.
Yeah, I know.
There's little doubt.
Yeah, I know. But I mean, it's still, like you look at something like Splitgate, far smaller game, doesn't have the Halo reputation. I'm not comparing the two, but I'm just saying that some games like this, it takes people time to get in, and the core Halo community is going to be there day one, of course, and that's millions of people by itself. But I think this is going to expand the player base in a way that Halo 4 and Halo 5 didn't.
100%.
Yeah.
It's simple enough to attach to it. That's the other reason I think that it's going to be successful is just because it's pared down to just its basest form. It's going to be kind of inviting to a whole different audience. And I think the younger generation, they actually like more complex shooters. But there's something about this game. I really think it's going to connect to them because it works when you get started early. And this, yeah, I just
feels like a chess thing. It's more simple to pick up, but the complexity at the skill gap for the higher levels still there. It's interesting.
I just have a good feeling about it, man.
Yeah,
I think it's going to come together.
It's good chats here. Stubbs says, I'm more of a Gears guy, but I love this Halo Infinite beta. And I've heard that from many people. Again, Matt says we have to get Dan into multiplayer. I'm hopeful Battlefield or Halo can do it, so he can be one of us.
Yeah, but it'll be Battlefield before it's Halo for sure.
Yeah,
only because I played Battlefield.
He just plays a medic and just runs around and
that's all I do.
He doesn't have to shoot people.
I don't have to shoot anybody. Not that I'm against.
Are you a pacifist gamer?
No,
you don't kill any.
No,
your KDA
calling Nurse Rodriguez.
My Hitman playthroughs are the most boring playthroughs you'll ever see. It's just me running around and throwing apples at people's heads, and that's it. I just knock everybody out.
Figure out a way to just work things out. You just use your words,
Yeah, it's not World of Assassination. It's like World of slight head injury or something. It's not as exciting. So one of these days I'll jump in with something. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, we'll get you in for sure. If nothing else, you can jump in the backpack and we'll carry you through.
Yeah, I'll just run in front of everybody. I'm an excellent meat shield.
My brother Mo, $9.99 super chat. Thank you as always, brother. Good morning, brethren. Cheers to the panel and everyone watching. Appreciate it. Always love you. Guys over at Backlog Chronicles, thank you very much. And where was the one I missed? Cyberdocs in the house says, this is a good question for the community, and chat, feel free to answer this as well. What does everyone usually do first, campaign or multiplayer? Which in Halo is an interesting question. I have a routine I do here, but I'll wait to share. I think it's probably safe, Dan, to say you're going to do campaign first.
100%. And last. Probably.
So, Travis, what do you usually do here, man, with the big Halo release?
Campaign.
Okay.
Do
you finish the whole campaign?
I finish it. I have to get through the full campaign before I touch multiplayer.
You think you're going to do that even in this one if it's kind of a 20+ hour open world thing?
Here's the thing, though. Every other Halo game I've gotten through the same day that it came out. I play it as soon as it comes out. I sit there, I go on legendary difficulty by myself, and I don't stop until it's done, right? And that I think it might take longer, but my stamina has been built up over years of playing Destiny. I'm used to this now, where like the campaign is like, when they have a major yearly expansion, those games, it takes you like a full weekend to get through that first campaign, and then I step into multiplayer. So for a few reasons. One, I feel like it's a really good place to learn and get out all your wonkiness, right? Yep. Like that to me is pretty important. Two, I hate getting spoiled, and there's already the entire story has been spoiled this weekend.
So frustrating.
Which is unfortunate. But
you didn't hear about that, Dan?
No,
it got leaked. The entire
whole thing.
Script.
They accidentally left in a few files in the build, which of course PC data miners got into, and then now there's spoilers out there already. Yeah,
for the entire campaign.
Including
the ending. So I have not looked it up.
No.
I don't think I have to yet as part of my professional life, but if I do, I'll be sad. But yeah, I don't like getting spoiled, so I have to get through it. I can't hop on multiplayer and have people speaking in my ear about something I haven't experienced yet in the story. And also I just feel like it helps me get in the spirit of Halo. Playing multiplayer or playing the campaign is like a meditative experience for me. It like helps me learn and also just gets me in that like place again.
It's a solitary thing, right? Like it's me and Halo.
And then as soon as I'm done with it, the first thing I do is I log on to the multiplayer and I just go bananas for as long as I can.
Fair enough.
That's my plan. I have to do it that way.
I don't think we are alone here, and I haven't said mine yet, but everyone in the chat. So Cyber says campaign, Fastback, Dano, Mo, everyone's saying campaign first. Chris over Fastback says he prefers co-op campaign, which is cool. So my method is a little bit different. I actually I will do campaign first, but I don't finish it. I usually take it in chunks. So I'll do campaign. I don't play legendary at the start either. I play campaign usually on heroic. And I'll play, 2-3 hours, maybe 4 hours, depending how addicted I am to it right out of the gate. And then I go to multiplayer. And then I'll, get my fix for a little bit. Then I'll go back and I kind of mix and match for a little bit until I finish campaign. And then I'll go back and do legendary the second time around, because I play these multiple times through. So, and of course some co-op as well. So Yago, good to see you, brother. I see some people said they're working and listening in, so thanks as always. Hope we're keeping your Sunday morning going. The last thing I'll say here is I promise. I think I'll promise this is the last thing I'll say on Halo for now, is that it's just exciting to feel Halo being back in the limelight. It's been 6 years since Halo 5 released. At the time Halo 5 released, I hadn't even founded Season Gaming yet. The conversation on social media was very different. Things have changed a lot in 6 years. The way information travels, the gaming community, how active it is all on places like Twitter and other areas, right? It's changed a lot since the last Halo core game released. And it just feels good to be in this same community with all these people talking, and Halo just filling my timeline of comments and positivity and amazing clips and everything else. It's a great time to be a fan.
Yeah, man. Well put. It's cool to watch for sure.
Yeah. So, and it's only going to get better. So can't wait. So, all right, we will move on from Halo. That was that was quite a bit of time there. I don't want to, but I think what we'll do, Travis, maybe we have a couple more flights, and then we bring the Halo roundtable back together. Do a follow-up episode.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Do it. Get the whole team there this time too.
Yeah. We'll make sure Jordan's on. Assuming we can get Jordan a freaking invite to the flight, and get Pat back and Mo and everyone else. Yeah.
You should have hit me up. I didn't even get invited to this technical preview. I broke into it, and I helped other people do it too. They fixed it yesterday, but I could have got your buddy in. I could have got him in. You should have told me.
You don't say that on live air, man. You don't say that on live air. We'll talk. I
didn't do anything shady. I just they 343 did something that made it really easy for people who wanted to get in to get a code. That's all I'll say.
Okay.
But, yeah,
all right.
Fixed it.
Well, I will. We'll see when the next flight is. And should Jordan or some people we know not get in, we'll talk about that. We'll make it happen.
Make it happen.
All right. So let's move on to a couple other things. We've got we'll jump over to kind of more positivity, really, for both Xbox and PlayStation. So we'll start with PlayStation, which is actually no, I'm sorry. We'll just continue on Xbox because we're on Halo, so we might as well continue there. So Xbox fiscal results came out this. God, I've got this little fly flying around. I'm sorry. A Microsoft earnings report came out this week, which of course includes Xbox results, and this is the fourth quarter of fiscal 2021. So what that does, of course, is gives you the full fiscal year look for Xbox as a brand. We've talked plenty of times about how successful Xbox, PlayStation, and Nintendo have been, and they continue to be. And so there's really no surprises here. But the core things to be aware of are that the Xbox Series X and S as a console platform is now the fastest selling Xbox consoles of the four generations, launch aligned, of course. They're doing extremely well, and that's even, of course, with the restraints on manufacturing we're all very well aware of. 15, and I've got the chart here, which I'll throw up on the screen if you're watching with us because it's quite impressive, is we talked previously a couple years ago about Xbox finally breaking the $10 billion revenue mark for a fiscal year, which was for them a first and also very impressive at the time. So to show you how successful Xbox is getting, here's their fiscal 2021 compared to historic for their fiscal revenue. So as you can see, they broke 10 billion for the first time in fiscal year 2018. They were slightly above that in 19 and 20, which is just under 12 billion. For fiscal year last year, they nearly hit 16 billion. So if you're an executive, you're a head of the organization, you're someone like Phil Spencer, who is responsible for these sorts of things, the fact that you're putting up a 30% year over year revenue increase when you're talking billions of dollars is it's just incredibly impressive. Here's another look at it. These are both from Z Huge, by the way, on Twitter, who does a lot of the analysis. So
look at that. It's mostly content and services. Hardware is
shocking, right?
Minority, yeah.
Shocking, right?
The Game Pass money.
Yeah, it is. It is 100%. So you see the content services. I mean, hardware's still bigger than the other years, as they kind of already said, right? But it's really based around services and Game Pass has been a huge factor. They said it. So they didn't release a new subscription number, but just great news. It's not that any of us really are invested in the sense of whether it's 16 billion or 17 billion. I don't care. The matter of the fact is what this allows to do is to invest more for experiences like Halo and everything else we're talking about for us to play. So just good news overall, guys. We also, and I'll touch on all three of these things, and then you guys can just add your comments on any of it. But Flight Sim is obviously out. Seems to be running extremely well on Series X and S. The response to it, at least anecdotally, has been more than I expected for Flight Sim. I thought people would kind of touch it for 5 minutes and say, okay, done with this. But, a lot of people in the community, at least that I'm seeing, are still kind of sticking with it. I was in a party the other night with like 4 different people playing it. You can fly together, you can get in the same game, which I didn't even know existed, and just kind of fly around the world. So that's really cool to see. Amazing technology behind that game too. And then Forza Horizon 5, we got another developer update from Playground Games this week where they showed the biomes. So they showed, videos of the different environments. There's 11 different biomes in the game. And they showed a few videos and new pictures and everything like that, which I continue to just be astounded by that it's a game when you look at some of these videos. I mean, it just doesn't even make sense how good it looks. So it's just great news here from an Xbox perspective, both, for the brand, but also what's being delivered, right? We've talked for so long about games. Well, they're not only coming, we're basically here, right? It's kind of begun where this fall's looking great. And I think there's like 6 first-party games alone in the next 5 months that are coming from an Xbox perspective. So good stuff.
Yeah. I did play Flight Simulator, which it doesn't seem like my type of game, but I got the Thrustmaster out. I hate that name. The flight stick, and started using that. Yeah, right? It really is. The Thrustmaster flight stick. How many can you cram into one title for a device? Also, that was really bad phrasing. Yep. Okay. So
we're off there.
Canceled. But yeah, I really am enjoying it. Like you said, the technical part is amazing. And then Forza 5 could not be more stoked for it. I love the Forza franchise. And like you said, the technical part of Forza is crazy. I mean, there's a guy who I follow on Twitter, and all he does is take Forza clips and mixes them with car commercials and asks you to guess which
really?
If it's a car commercial or if it's just Forza footage. He's really good at it. So but yeah, I'm very excited for that game too.
Wow, that's cool. Yeah, I'm pumped for Horizon 5. I'm a motorsport guy because I'm kind of a hardcore car guy, right? But Horizon, just from a sit down and fun to play perspective, it's phenomenal. So Dan, anything? I know Flight Sim, you said the same thing. Not really your type of game. We both kind of joked previously. It's a 5 minutes. Check it out.
Yeah. No, it's the most boring single player game I've ever played. Listen, there's the thing. I played it when it came out on the PC. Thrustmaster, flight stick, all that stuff. And it was good. I mean, it was cool to see, fly over by my house, check out the airports that are, close to us. I mean, you got an airport, a couple miles away.
5 minutes away.
No wonder it was boring. You just went to your house. That's the most boring thing you can do in Flight Simulator. Go to the pyramids. What are you doing?
I'm not tired of look at the pyramids. I can look at that online.
Oh my god, dude! Come on.
Hold on, wait a minute. What the hell? Why would I do that?
Your house, dude.
Of course I did. That's what everybody does. Everybody goes to their house.
You're telling me during the pandemic, when you couldn't go anywhere and you got Flight Simulator, the one place you went is literally the prison you were trapped in?
Yes.
Your house?
And the Target by my house.
Damn.
I did the same, but hearing Travis say it does kind of sound ridiculous.
Dan, you are the opposite of the most interesting man in the world. You are the most boring person.
I can barely take off. And I don't have time for this nonsense. I mean, why would I want to sit there? I'm going to fly from here to Chicago.
You literally said an hour and 45 minutes. Airports near me.
I go take to the bathroom. I come back, and I don't understand what I'm supposed to do. Listen, it's not for me. That's fine. It looks amazing. I haven't.
You're doing it wrong.
I have much better use for my space on my Series X than 100 gigabytes of something that I will probably never play. And I'm not saying it's a bad game. I'm just saying it's very specific, very, very niche. So
I do. I mean, we've talked about it. I'm the same way. It's like I find it hard to get into actually being able to fly to begin with, because my attention span to learn that in-flight sim is low. But I think I need to spend more time with it. And to Travis's point, I am looking at going forward to being able to fly so I can visit some of the kind of cool landmarks and really check it out. And
I also saw Ains's house.
Hey guys, that's where we used to film Bitcast, right down there.
Yeah, right there. Yeah, remember that? That was cool. Yeah.
I am impressed, in all seriousness, that Series X runs it better than my PC. I mean, bar none. And I don't have a top end PC. We talked about this, right? But I do have a good PC. And it's how they managed to make this game run as well as it does on Series X is just super impressive.
Yeah. Top Gun might bring me back. I might
fly. The jets look cool, don't they?
Yeah, that looks awesome. So, flying an F-16 over my house. Yeah. Now we're talking. Now we're talking.
The jets are already in it. You don't have to wait for Top Gun. There's already jets in it.
That's true.
Yeah. Do you have to unlock them?
Yes, you do.
Yeah. The hell with that. There's
you're gonna have to unlock. No, not unlock through play. You can just. They actually have, and I saw Destin actually. Gary posted about this because there was some confusion, but they have some user created content as well that has. I don't know if someone in chat can correct me if I'm wrong, but I know the jets are in the game because I've seen the clips for friends. But they're things for like $3.99, $4.99 you can buy, but it supports like the people who developed it. Like the money goes somewhere positive. Do you know what I mean? But there's extra content you can download that's already there like that.
That makes sense. Sure. Yeah. I'll wait for Top Gun. So I want to buzz the tower.
You wait to cut Top Gun to go to airports near you.
Yes.
and your house.
Small executive airport down the road.
Yeah. I'm gonna go check out the Hy-Vee, the local grocery store. See if I can land right next to it. Stop
at Freddy's, pick up a burger.
Yeah, right. Yeah, stop at Quick Trip with my Fountain Dew.
You're the guy who thinks the Mexican restaurant in your house is the best restaurant in the world. There's no better food in the world than the place that happens to be right next to my house.
That's right. My neighbors. She makes a hell of a tamale. Hellacious tamale.
My God.
Oh boy.
Man.
I am looking forward to spending more time with it when I can, though. Like it's between reviewing the Ascent and Halo coming out, that's just been my full focus. So after what's tomorrow hits and I cry a little bit for Halo not being playable, I'll get back to trying some other games.
I'm not convinced that the technical preview is going to end.
I think it will.
Yeah. I don't know. They said that they might activate the multiplayer today, and I think that if they do that, they can't have that out for just like half a day or whatever. I don't know, man. I think the success of it, how hard is it for them to just keep the servers live and just let people goof around with AI for a while? They're building so much momentum. I don't know, man.
Okay. All right. I disagree. We'll see. This is an instance I 100% hope you're right. I would love for them to keep it on, but
I'm just saying I could see them being like, we've extended it a day because of the problems on Thursday or something like that to keep the momentum going a little bit, because I do think it would be a little foolish to cut the flow right now. But there is also a strategy behind keep them wanting, keep them the Nintendo strategy, only print 100 amiibos and then make everybody kill each other over them.
It's a vertical slice, right? So they said they sliced this build 2 months ago, right? Which again, as we said, makes it even more impressive because it means the game's 6 months from launch, the build we're playing. So what they probably have, right, is the next slice ready to go, which they'll take all the data from this, build upon it, etc. So we'll see. I hope you're right. By the way, Beast Mode in the chat, to what I was talking about in Flight Simulator, he said they're professional content creators, not microtransactions, right? So there was certain content creators, I believe, that created content for Flight Sim that you can support. It's not like it just goes to, the Xbox or Sobo or the studio. So pretty cool. All right. that's a lot of Halo and Xbox. Let's jump over to PlayStation real quick. Some good news and some interesting debates this week. So we'll start with the good news, which is PlayStation 5 has sold through 10 million units officially, according to Sony and PlayStation. This makes it one of the fastest selling consoles of all time and the fastest selling console in the US all time. Which, when you think about how many people want a PS5 and still can't get one, is very, very impressive. So regardless of, we always joke about the echo chamber we live in on Twitter and social media, and a lot of the talk being Halo Xbox, and not to take away from Xbox's success, as we said, Xbox's success, the continued growth, everything else, doesn't mean that PlayStation has suddenly changed and is not doing well, right? Like PlayStation doing extremely well, PS5 doing very well globally. So this is cool to see. Again, I feel like a broken record, but all this means is further investment, right? Further investment in experiences, things we're going to get in the future. It means that your investment, if you have a PlayStation 5, will kind of be a good thing for years to come. So cool to see this.
Yeah, I think I'm definitely not disappointed in my purchase of the PS5. Like, every time they come, their model works, and I think it's very different from Xbox's. But anytime they come out with a banger, I've got to boot up my PS5.
Oh, banger! I hope Joe's still in the chat.
Got to pull those the Returnal, the Ratchet and Clank, all these games that are coming out. So I'm excited. Obviously, I think we're probably going to get into their delays, which is unfortunate, but. There's just a lot coming down the line that's exciting, and I think this is what I love about where we're at with gaming right now. Is the industry is exploding, and there's room for everyone to be successful, and you see every single console manufacturer and company recording record profits and that sort of thing. So it's awesome.
Exactly.
Yeah, we always say we're the winners from this whole thing, so that's the way I've always looked at it. That's the way I'm going to continue to look at it. I'm at the point now where I don't even have a preference where I play. It doesn't even matter. Like I'm at like uber lazy mode, where if I am on playing PlayStation games at the time, say I'm just on that system and a third party game comes out, that's where I'm buying it. If I'm happen to be on my Xbox at the time, that's where I buy it. It's just, or then I buy it on both or whatever it is. I just don't, it's just gotten to that point where I'm able to just play anywhere and not have to worry about anything, which is great. So,
like I said, there's a tremendous amount of freedom in that, right? Because it's nice that there's this, and depending on how you view the Switch, of course, if you're there as well, there's just these platforms that are very successful, and wherever you want to play, there's a good place to play a game. So it's cool. Mm-hmm. It's cool. Matt, by the way, in the chat, Matt Burns, who our community knows well, the new beta for the operating system for PS5, if you're in that, which has the storage expansion we're going to get to in a second. It has the new trophy lists on some of the UI updates, but it also has the beginnings of the Tempest 3D audio mapping and things they talked about prior to launch. Matt is a huge audiophile, one of the best guys I know to talk to about this stuff. Mm-hmm. He's not in the beta test, and he reached out to me because I'm, not as much as an audiophile as him. But I'm there as well, but I'm not in it as well on the PlayStation side. So anyone listening to this, if you are kind of into the audio side of it, you are in the PlayStation 5 beta and get this update soon, please reach out to Matt. He'd like to talk to you about kind of testing this and, helping to walk through it, because it is a really neat feature and not a lot of people are talking about it. So if we can do that, that'd be cool. Thank you.
I'm in the beta, but I haven't got any update yet. So I don't know.
I think they said it's coming, right? It's not. It's not out. Yeah.
All right. So. So we'll see. That's more of a roll of the dice than the skip ahead alpha for the Xbox. I feel
that's why I'm not in it, and I'm not in the alpha anymore for Xbox either.
Yeah, neither am I. So I think I signed up for it, a few months ago. So we'll see.
I'm in the alpha on my third Xbox, but my main one in my living room and my portable one. It's my system. My bedroom Xbox gets to be the test one. So
the guinea pig.
So yeah, the other thing, the big delay, right, is what we're hearing, and this was reported by a few outlets, rumored, etc. And then Jason Schreier came out and said that said that he can confirm. Now we're just going on his word because it hasn't officially, unless I missed it. And Travis, please let me know if IGN has a different report. But it hasn't been confirmed formally by Guerrilla Games or PlayStation, but we're hearing that Horizon Forbidden West has been delayed out of 2021 to first quarter 2022. Not that should be extremely surprising to anyone. I think many of us felt that was going to happen anyway. But that's what we're hearing. And so I guess the bigger conversation here, you can touch on that, but the bigger conversation here that's interesting to me is that PlayStation didn't do a summer game showcase, at least not yet. Maybe they have one coming here in August. And so with Horizon was really their big 2021 game for the fall that was supposed to come out. If that's pushed as we believe it is, we don't know from a first party perspective, we don't know if they have anything for this fall, which is kind of interesting from a PlayStation standpoint.
Yeah. I suspect that they probably don't have anything, definitely nothing as big.
Yeah, it's going to be like Xbox last year with Halo, right? As soon as Halo got pushed, it was like, oh, that was it.
It's all over. Yeah, so I think it'll probably be like that with PlayStation. But the flip side is that their spring is looking really strong. God of War is supposed to come out there. They've got a lot of games in that slot. So I think they're going to have a really strong spring, and that's probably okay. They've already done pretty well in the first half of the year with PlayStation exclusives. So. It's unfortunate, but this is sort of COVID happened, man.
I mean, it's
lots of games are getting delayed because of that.
We've talked about it before, but I think game delays don't even affect me at all anymore. It's like, oh, it's delayed. Okay. I mean, Halo did because Halo, but other games, it's like, oh, whatever. There's so many games to play.
Are you out of games? Like,
right,
you needed Horizon Zero Dawn this fall?
I wanted it to be delayed because I love Horizon and I know I'm going to want to invest many hours into that world. Don't release at the same time as Halo. Don't do that to me. I don't have time for it. So please, if you're 6 months after Halo, it's all the better to me.
Yeah, that's why I'm glad Halo was delayed, because it was going to come out at the same time as the Destiny expansion. And I was like, I don't want to have to.
Come on now.
I don't want to have to choose between a Bungie and a 343 game. That's like, Sophie's choice. I would have chosen Halo. Don't get me wrong.
Yes,
but,
all right. You're back.
I mean, it's just, there's a certain, but yeah, I'm like, it happened perfectly. Halo got delayed, so it didn't come out during the same time. And then this year, Destiny got delayed. So Destiny's coming out in the spring. So I'm going to get the
Witch expansion, right?
The Witch Queen expansion. Yeah. So everything's turning up, Ty Guy. That's all I have to say about all these, about all these delays. I'm very excited.
Yeah. And Dan, sorry, one more thing is, the funny thing, because Beast Mode commented, is the funny thing now is the biggest kind of, I hate the word exclusive, just kind of annoys me at this point because we hear it too much. But the biggest exclusive now coming for PS5 that we know about in the fall is Deathloop, which is made by an Xbox studio, which is, just kind of hilarious when you think about the industry and how things happen as a business. But Deathloop is really the one exclusive we know is coming for PS5 after September, or in September.
Yeah, I mean, I think Kino's coming out too.
That got pushed as well.
To September. Yeah. Yep. So I mean, it's one of those things where
I forgot about that game.
There's so much, third party stuff out there right now that's coming still. Especially with the big multiplayer games, and then Halo. I mean, really, if I'm Sony and I'm looking at it, I'm like, yeah, this isn't a bad thing. Even if it, they needed just a couple more months. Like you said, if you release Horizon anywhere near Halo, it's going to suffer for it. I mean, it's just how it is. So this isn't a bad deal for them from that perspective. But even, depending on how late it goes into 2022, I mean, Halo isn't going to go anywhere. It's just going to keep growing and growing. So, but it's just what it is nowadays. There's always delays, always. And I mean, I'm not a huge fan of them. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, I also understand it. I mean, this is unprecedented, and what we're going through, and is what it is. I'm a little disappointed, but because I was really looking forward to Horizon, but at the same time, it's coming. It'll be good.
I actually am a fan of delays. They say nobody's a fan of delays. Like I am. Like I'm pro delay. We should get more delays. Like what's up with all these games coming out? Like can't some of these games just not come out and just get delayed for a little bit? Like give me a break, guys. I can only take so much. So
that's what we need.
I see nothing wrong with this. I hear a game gets delayed. I'm like, good.
Oh man,
I was
get it off my calendar. I don't want to see it.
It's like somebody telling me that, oh, sorry, we're gonna have to delay the homework by a week. It's like, all right, yeah, I'm down. Push it even farther. I don't care. Not that I view video games as homework, but just that's what it's.
Sometimes they are.
Yeah,
they can be, especially if you're reviewing them. But for me, it's like there are so many games. Who is upset about a review? Who? Like, I need to talk to you because you need an intervention, kid. Like there's no reason to be upset about a delay this game. So I'm pro delay. I want more games to get delayed than are currently being delayed.
Yeah,
I think to your point, you mentioned God of War. I think, if I had to make a call right now at this point in time, I'd say Horizon comes in the spring, right? Whether that be March to May, somewhere in that time frame. God of War will come out late next year. It's not coming out in the spring.
Really?
I don't believe it. No. Why would you launch Horizon and God of War within a month of each other when those are your 4 to 5 year development cycle games that are going to be the showcases for your platform?
I mean, they did it with Ghosts and Last of Us 2. I mean, it worked out fine.
I'm not saying they won't sell.
Kind of did it. They kind of did it this year with Returnal and Ratchet and Clank. I think those were a month or two apart. So
I mean, Returnal and Ratchet and Clank combined sold less than 2 million copies.
Yeah.
Horizon and God of War are a whole nother tier. I mean
they did that because there were no PlayStation 5s in any houses.
Yeah, that's what I mean, right? So why not again? The distribution chain issue is not going to be solved in 6 months. It's just not. We've already heard from the chip manufacturer. So why not just let more PS5s, give the dev team on God of War more time and release it September of next year when it can dominate?
But these aren't PS5 exclusive games either, though.
That's true too. They're not. They're not PS5
exclusive. PS4. So you've got that extra audience already built in. So,
but they are system sellers. People,
for sure they are.
God of War that they can play.
Yeah,
so. That's fair. I see your logic there. I just don't know if they would delay a game that was ready to ship just because of strategic decisions. Sure. I find that kind of hard to swallow, but I can see it happening. Yeah. I think you have a good point.
I'm putting my flag in September.
God of War Holiday 2022 has.
I say September. Say September,
but they'll call it holiday.
Yeah, that's true.
They'll call it God of War Holiday 2022 has a nice ring to it. Definitely.
Yeah, that's true. Sure. Because we know, right? Last of Us is probably one of them, right? But if there is one game, Horizon's going to be huge, but God of War is going to be a industry shaking title, right? It will take over the conversation whenever it launches. So, yeah, I don't know. But we'll see.
We saw maybe you did the Raising Kratos, documentary. Awesome. You could see, it's amazing, but you could see how stuff goes on in the background and in that studio specifically. Yeah. So you might not be, you might be right on, just based on what we saw and the chaos and what it takes to put all that stuff together and all the moving parts. Who the heck knows? It's gonna be awesome.
The obviously expectations are always high for God of War, right? But knowing how good 2018's God of War was and Game of the Year, accolades, everything we've talked about, right? As we talked about with Halo, the weight of expectation is now higher. Mm-hmm. PS5's first God of War, the sequel to 2018's Game of the Year, not Red Dead 2, but, PlayStation's Game of the Year. But, I think that they know they have to deliver. And let's not forget, COVID's still going on. These offices are not back. And sadly, we haven't touched on it, but what we're seeing now is offices are reclosing. My company is reclosing because of the now Delta and, everything going on with the further spread. So it's not like both the pandemic and the distribution chain issues are solved. They're still ongoing. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
Get your vaccines, people.
That's please. Come on, guys. Come on.
Protect against the variants. You'll be safe. Just kidding.
All right. Where was I? Okay, we got to touch on it, and I don't spend a lot of time on this because I think it's kind of half ridiculous. But the storage expansion debacle for the PlayStation. So I'm going to give my quick thoughts. I want to know if you guys feel differently. But okay, so they come out in this beta, they're finally kind of activating it, right? It's a software update to activate the usage of it. You have to take the panel off the side of the PS5, take off the little cover, and then basically you need to buy a specific SSD from third-party manufacturers that meet the requirements. We all know I think everyone listening knows that. A couple companies have come out and said, here's an option for your PS5 if you want to upgrade. Here's the read-write speeds, etc. Internal testing from Insomniac has shown that most of them perform, the ones that are ready, perform very well. They did show like a 15% loss in speed processing compared to internal for some of these drives. I saw Mark Cerny actually posted last night or this morning, like the drive that he recommends for the PS5. If you're going to expand it, it's expensive as hell, as you would imagine. It's just the nature of these drives at the moment. I don't think this is a big deal. I will say this. It's not the best design, right? From a console perspective, this is a poor design because it's not plug and play. People expect plug and play for consoles. That's what it is, right? It's not a PC. I don't want to be taking panels off and installing stuff. That said, it's not a huge deal, right? I think my opinion, most of the kind of mass market people that buy PS5s aren't even going to think about this. They're not even going to know it exists, first of all. If they ask, then they can find out and say, well, that's kind of a pain in the ass. But I don't think this is going to be something that's going to change the outlook of how people view the PS5. I think it's one of those things. It's an inconvenience for some. Other people who obviously work on PCs or install drives, this is simple. It's not a big deal at all. And then I think for the majority of the market, it's not even going to be thought about. Now, the only question I would raise is, as we get further into the generation, the Horizons, the God of Wars, the bigger games do come out for PS5, and the people who don't know any better, again, your average consumer start to fill up that hard drive, and they start to question, okay, what do I do now other than obviously deleting games, right? Then you have to kind of start to explain the options. Well, you can plug in a USB external drive and transfer games. You can uninstall, etc. So, and I think that may, again, be an inconvenience or an annoyance to some people. But other than that, I don't think this is a big deal. I hate talking about stuff like this for extended periods of time. It takes over the conversation for some people as if it's this gigantic deal. And it's like, it is what it is. It's not a good design. I don't think anyone's saying it is, but come on. This isn't a deal breaker.
So I agree that like traditionally, because it's a console space, most people aren't even going to know about expanded storage and aren't going to think about it. But I actually think it's something this generation that the core gamer, the mythical core gamer, I think is actually going to have to start thinking about because of the storage problem.
Because of the space.
I think if you don't have a convenient, easy to explain, affordable core gamer targeted solution to this problem by the time it becomes a problem for those people, then it does change people's opinions of the PS5 because they look at other options and they go, well, that's easy. All I do is I just plug in a card. That one's easy. This one, you have this whole workaround thing, and I don't like that. And I think then it becomes more than just, hey, this is a wonky feature that they need to figure out at some point. I think right now, you're right, Ames. Like, it's not going to affect anybody right now. But I think at some point in this generation, if you can only have 8 to 9 games installed on your PS5, that's a problem even for casual gamers.
I agree.
I think if you start to explain to casual gamers that they have to take off a panel on their PlayStation, that's a point where they're just like, all right, I'm jumping ship. Like this is no longer something that's welcoming to me. So I can see it becoming something where we're all like, damn, they really botched this. I have more faith in PlayStation than that. I think they will come up with a consumer friendly solution before it becomes a problem. They have to. Right now, I don't think we're at that point, but I think we're really close. I think if they don't solve this in the next 6 months to a year, then you start seeing core gamers actually going like, dude, what's up? Like, why is this such a problem? So
and I think
tell me something that can fix this, like right now. You know,
and I think the plan was probably to have this solved by now, but with everything going on, it obviously didn't work out. So I do agree with you to a degree. Maybe I try to think about it like, to me, it's not a big deal, but then I try to remove myself from it and think, again, like you said, average consumer. Obviously, the PC enthusiast, this is simple to them because you do a lot more complex things on PC, right? But to just the person who is either used to not thinking about storage or plugging in a memory card, as they have in the past. Yeah, this is what do you mean I have to take a panel off and get a screwdriver out and I have to pick the right drive? And what do you mean, what's a heatsink? People don't even, I'm not being sarcastic, right? Your average, this person who just picks up a console and plays it, they're not thinking about heat sinks. Like they're like, what are you talking about?
That's crazy that you have to even know like the stats of the drive, because so for me, for example, this doesn't just affect the core gamers who don't know about this stuff. It also affects the hardcore like me. Like part of the reason PlayStation isn't my platform for multiplats is because I am a hardcore. I need to have all my games installed on my Xbox at all times.
I have 89 terabytes over there.
I have 34 terabytes hooked up to my Xbox. 34 terabytes. And you know how hard it was to get those 2 hard drives hooked up and working? I just plugged them in.
You plug them in.
I bought 2 16 terabyte hard drives. I plugged them in. Now I've got the external card and the internal, so that's another 2. I'm at 34 terabytes. I have thousands of games installed, and it's super easy. So I think that this problem, if you let it grow, it hurts you on both sides. It hurts you on the hardcore side, people like me who just aren't going to play on your platform as the primary if this is even like close to an issue. And then the other side of people are casual. So then the only people you're leaving are the people who truly don't care, either because they're so loyal to your platform or because they're truly that casual that they never buy enough games. And in which case, those aren't really the people you want to be serving anyway, right? If they're not buying your games. But yeah, I am a digital hoarder. Somebody's saying in the
that's
chat.
Joe. Yeah,
100%. I have a problem. I recently had to upgrade both of my 8 terabyte external hard drives because I reached maximum capacity on everything and I felt the walls closing in on me. I had like a panic. I was like, what am I going to do? Just like re-download games like some sort of sycophant or peasant. Like I just can't live this way. So I had to upgrade, but
I was the same way before. I had 2 16 terabyte hard drives. They're like books that were daisy chained to each other, and it would be fine. On my old Series X, but now I kind of, I looked at what the storage would cost and how much I play and how many games I play at a time, and it just never. Now I'm completely opposite. I gave my kids my internal or my externals. They're fine. I still have 700, 800 Xbox games but I'm not going to play them all at the same time. So it's not a huge deal for me, but I understand that, in different places in the country, you have data caps, you have,
that's the
slower
other thing,
internet, so
the data cap thing is a real
or globally
right?
where your download speed is 10 megabits, right? Downloading a big game is like a 3-day process. So it's not like you can just uninstall and re-download constantly.
There are other issues that go into this, as far as before you even get to, the storage issue. I'm not planning on getting anything for the PlayStation. I'm not planning on getting the Xbox One either. So it's just to the point where I'm just, I'm good. I've got, there's certain games that are on my hard drives, like in perpetuity, like State of Decay 2, always going to be there.
Halo
Sea of
5.
Thieves. No, Sea of Thieves was there until like last month when they hurt me. And then after that, it's really, like Hitman 3 on my PlayStation, everything else is.
So you're more of a play it. If I'm going to continue playing, it stays. Otherwise, it's gone, and I've got room.
Yeah.
I think that's a lot of people.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of people, and you've got your your COD people, you've got your Maddens, your FIFA people. They're not going to be super affected by this. As far as how it's implemented, it's kind of trash. Like with the PS4, I remember putting an SSD in my Pro, and it was kind of a hassle, but that was totally optional, and that was actually putting it as an internal. This one, it should be just plug and play. That's obviously Xbox has done this far better, and the price is probably right about where it should be.
Which is funny because, when we launched and it was like, oh, that's a great solution that Xbox came up with. And let's be clear, it's not an easy thing to do. They had to work with a partner. I'm sure that took a lot of time. There's the Series X is designed to take that drive and work in unison with the internal storage. That's not a simple thing. Like people overlook the engineering aspects of these things sometimes, and they need to be called out and applauded when these companies do things right. That's future thinking for consumers, and Xbox
100%.
did that here.
That's what I was saying.
Yeah. No, I'm agreeing with you. I'm just saying, and it's clear that PlayStation didn't take the same care in that.
Right.
Yeah. Now, the other stuff I've been thinking about is like with the proliferation of like services where you're like Game Pass, where you're downloading games all the time.
Yeah.
And with so many games coming out these days, we're now playing more games than we ever have, and we have access to more games than we ever have. If you're on Game Pass and you have access to like 300 games and your friend hits you up and goes, yo, do you want to play this game? And you don't have it installed on your drive. So then you have to download it. And maybe you have a data cap or you're in a part of the country that has slower speeds. That's a way bigger hassle than it's ever been in the past, where you just took out one disc and popped in another, you know? So sure. I think this is going to become more and more of a consideration. It's going to be something that like every gamer, even the casual ones, have to come to terms with, because there are plenty of casual gamers who don't buy any games and they just play what's on Game Pass, and even those people are going to have this huge problem just because of the swapping game, and that gets annoying really quickly. I mean, I don't have to deal with it because I'm awesome, but for you guys, I can't even imagine.
For you 34 terabyte guys over there. So let me call chat real quick. Good to see. I see Mav. I see you, Fonz. Thanks for stopping by, guys. I believe it was Mav who asked what drives you're using. Travis.
Oh,
the 16 terabyte ones.
Yeah, so they're both WD drives, 16 terabytes. I can send you them, and Western Digital. And then I've got the internal and the external proprietary ones you get from Microsoft. My friend, his solution is he just bought a bunch of those SSDs and he just swaps them out.
Plugins, like memory cards. It's like memory cards again.
G to L, like this whole. There's actually a community of people who really like to catalog their games and have it organized. And there's no perfect solution, because the thing you don't realize is that once I'm maxed out on my 34 terabytes, there's no path for me.
Yeah,
there's a maximum.
The system max, right?
The system doesn't let you do more than 34. And before it was 34, it was 16, and I was at the max with 16. So every time they increase it, I just go to whatever the max is. But you're sort of running out of landing strip here when it comes to how we're going to handle this problem. So either
that's when you get another Series X. You just have to. I mean, that's what you're gonna have.
Doesn't solve the problem. I need to see all my games in my library. Installed games. I need to see them in a snapshot view. You don't understand.
You can see them.
You're the modern version of me with my shelf. Over here.
I can't do the shelf anymore, though. I know you guys. We talked about this on Halo. I am the modern version. Yeah, I switched to it though.
I mean, the thing about the whole thing is, if you number one, I'm just gonna say this: if you don't own a PlayStation 5 and or you game on it once a year, shut up. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Please, all right. Your opinion means nothing to me and or anybody else. If this is a serious concern to you, however, and you own a PlayStation 5 and you're playing, this is your primary console, and you're running out of space at an alarming rate, which you should already be out of.
Probably be doing.
Yeah. Then 100%. Please, guys, let's just not make this bigger than it is, especially for you personally. Understand where you're coming from. If I'm playing on my Xbox primarily, which is what I normally do, this is a no-brainer for me. I got basically Hitman 3 and a bunch of first-party games on my PlayStation, and they can come and go as they please. I understand everybody needs to have the argument about it. It doesn't make any sense to me.
No, and that was the point I wanted to make, right? I didn't want to get into the nonsense about it, but
it's nonsense.
Yeah. My suggestion, and I have this on my Series X. Honestly, both these consoles, your best cheaper option, right, if you want extra space, is really just to install an external SSD. Because external SSDs have come way down in price over the past couple of years. Not these internal NVMe drives, but they're just a 4 terabyte SSD, plug it in via USB and just transfer games. Because both the PS5 and Xbox do that rather quickly. I transferred, it was either Valhalla or Cyberpunk, a big game, to my external off my Series X last week or 2 weeks ago. It takes like 5 minutes. You know what I mean? Just transfer it off, and you've got 100 gigs on your internal now. That's the easy solution.
I will say one thing that is kind of annoying, and this is the ultimate first world problem. I'm sure everyone in the comment section is going to hate me for this. But
with this 34 terabytes.
So this is the thing. I have everything on my drives, not because of expediency. It's because I need to have access to all of my games and see them in a snapshot view. And it becomes kind of hard to know which games you own and see a list of your games if you don't have them all installed, because you have some in the uninstalled games and you have some in Game Pass and some in Xbox Live Gold and some in it becomes really complicated really quickly. So I live in San Francisco.
Is there a section that says all owned games?
Yeah,
library,
but you don't own all of the games if they're Xbox Live Gold, Game Pass, etc. And so it becomes, or if they're an EA Access, or there's just so many ways you can access games. It's hard to know which ones you currently have access to without clicking on all the different boxes. And there's no good solution for Xbox, PlayStation. Switch actually has the best solution because they don't really have this problem. But this is the first world problem I was going to talk about. My internet speed, I get almost 2 gigabytes per second. I have Google Fiber, and so it actually takes me way longer to transfer a game from a hard drive than to just download it.
Yeah,
and so
we're the same. We get the same here.
That whole solution of transferring back and forth, it's like it almost feels like worse than for me. I know that in the majority of the United States,
I was going to say I'm speaking to majority, not royalty. Okay,
I'm just saying it's something that I find interesting. The whole transfer back and forth thing. It's like, how do we make that faster? I guess the solution is external SSDs, right? But
and Steve in the chat, what's up, Steve? Contributor for SG says, which is a good clarification, is if you're buying a dedicated external SSD, it's more expensive. What you can actually do is buy internal SSDs, put a housing on it, and it's the same thing. It's just a lot cheaper. So it's another one of those shortcuts you can do if you want more space and to save some money. So Stubb said, is Travis English?
He's actually Finnish. That's why we're doing this so early in the morning.
No. And Def Lloyd, what's up, man? In the house, he said, this is the most random comment in the chat, is everyone play Like a Dragon. And I just have to agree with him because it's a great
100%.
Good.
Yeah, great game.
Probably my game of the year last year.
Oh, nice. You're in Dan's round for sure.
Nice.
Yeah.
I love that game's multiplayer.
What's that?
I'm just messing with Dan.
Yeah, great game though. All right, we'll move on from that. One last comment. I am waiting for them to release a 2 terabyte option for the Xbox. That's what I want. I want a 2 terabyte plug-in.
I want a 6. Let's just make it 6.
Or bigger. Yeah, let's say larger option.
Let's make a 34, and it's like, it's out like 17 feet.
Listen, if you were like Travis, here's a proprietary drive that goes in that slot. It gives you 10 terabytes, but it costs $5,000. I'd be like, okay. I will take 2. Yeah.
Oh man.
All right. One other thing I wanted to talk about before we close out, because I find this interesting, and I said, we're going to be commenting on the industry and studios and stuff, and this was a notable one, is that a new studio was announced this week called That's No Moon. Obviously, a Star Wars
name.
Yes, very cool name for a studio. Damn it. And this was originally reported on by IGN. So Michael Moonbauer, who is formerly head of PlayStation's Visual Arts Group, is the CEO here. And Tina Kowaleski, I'm going to say, was formerly the head of product development at Sony Santa Monica, so God of War Studio, is the chief strategy officer, so the CSO. And they are a new studio with $100 million capital investment from Smilegate. So Smilegate is a very big game company you don't hear as much about over here in the US and North America, but they run the Crossfire games like Crossfire X that's coming out, which, if you're not aware, is a massive game in China. Lots of revenue here. So $100 million capital investment. They are in Los Angeles and San Diego. It's not just those two people, but they have some senior talent from a lot of PlayStation studios, as well as Bungie from Destiny. So This you can find the article on our site. As I said, IGN originally reported this. But according to this, their first title will be an ambitious action-adventure title, which is about as generic as you can be with any description of a title. It's being developed thanks to the capital investment from Smilegate, who will also act as publishing partners, according to the report. And according to Smilegate, they aim to create new experiences that will inspire empathy and deeper personal connections with players around the world. So not too much to report here other than the fact that, we talk about the continued massive investment into the gaming industry from big players globally. And this is just another example of that. And given the talent of which the studio has from the studios, PlayStation, Bungie, and others, whatever they create will probably be very special, though it's probably years away, of course. So, but pretty cool to see these kind of studios popping up.
Yeah, I mean, it looks awesome, man. I mean, let me just say, it just the amount of talent. I mean, they shouldn't fail. That being said, yeah, I have no idea.
It's like Rapture. They brought all the best together.
That's right.
We know what happened there.
It's like it's gonna be the Suicide Squad or the Justice. I don't know what's gonna happen. It could be the Avengers. I have no idea. But you know what? Good luck to them. And in $100 million, I don't know how far that goes in today's development cycle. But it sounds like
team, I think, probably.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, so go for it. That's No Moon. You could do it.
I love the name. It would. Yeah. Could you imagine if they were like copyright strikes or something? I mean, they won't be, but it's just funny that they literally named their entire studio from a phrase from Star Wars.
What if this ambitious action adventure title is a Star Wars game?
Hey,
that's what I was gonna say.
I'm gonna bring your phrase, Dan. Bring it on.
I actually think it might be because it would be a pretty smart investment for now that Star Wars' exclusivity with EA is ending. The timing could actually be pretty perfect. They get a few years of development, they announce, and then this could be an option. I do have one critique about their name. It should have been That's No Moon, and then in smaller letters underneath it, it's a video game company. That should have been their full name.
Look at you. You should call them.
Tell them to append their title. Hey, look, I know you're early, but
let me tell you guys something. Free of charge.
Not to stand on the pedestal here, but the CEO did follow me on Twitter the other day. So I'll reach out to him. Obviously,
CEO to CEO.
Obviously, he's my best friend now. So clearly, I'll call him.
Yeah, amazing.
Like,
I'm very excited about that. I hope it's a Star Wars game. If it's not, I'll still play it. But good luck. Also, what's up with the video game industry loving moons so much? There's High Moon Studios, there's Moon Studios, and now there's That's No Moon. There's just lots of moons.
And people, and funny enough, Steve said it in the chat, but the Resident Evil engine stands for Reach for the Moon.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Yeah, and it has the picture of the moon too.
Yeah.
Our industry loves moons, I think, is the point of this entire podcast. So good luck. That's No Moon. I will play your game. I look forward to it. But please, when you make your game, please delay it.
That's all we ask here at Season Gaming.
We just want you to delay your game. That's all.
Yeah, minimum 6-month delay, and at least 1 or 2 server issues.
Yeah.
So
the problem is Sarka says in the chat, "What's up, brother?" He said, "The problem is in Destiny, the moon's haunted." So we'll see what we find on the moon.
Moon's haunted.
All right, guys, that's going to be our show for today. So thank you everyone for joining us. A couple things to call out before we head out. So Joey, who is a gigantic Halo nerd and lore guy who now writes for Season Gaming. You know him on Joey Cisco on Twitter. He wrote his first article for the site on Sea of Thieves. He's a gigantic Sea of Thieves fan as well. Has like 400 hours in it or something like that. So it's not necessarily a guide, but it's close. It kind of walks through all the key components of Sea of Thieves. And if you're looking to get in or just looking for tips, it's a great article. Please check that out. Steve is going to have an article this week on the Steam Deck. It's kind of already written, just kind of getting it ready for this week. But, about cloud gaming, the Steam Deck, the whole 30 FPS thing, the target. So that'll be up as well. I'm writing an article right now on Halo Infinite. Of course, it's going to shock you, I realize. But I started writing it yesterday on the Infinite preview, and it's kind of gonna be a tie between Halo nostalgia and the community, and Halo Infinite, and my thoughts on the full breakdown, the maps, the weaponry, way more detailed than we talked about today. So look for that this week. Look for that this week as well. Funny enough, Dan, Steve and I were joking in DMs the other day. It's like, him and I both write a lot of words, right? When we write, and I was like, yeah, we should really focus on just getting some quicker opinions out, right? And types of articles. We don't need to have 4,000 word articles every time. So I sit down to write my Halo Infinite impressions, and literally the intro. I haven't even gotten to Infinite yet. The intro is 600 words. Perfect. So yeah, we're getting there. We're getting there. But what else? A couple other reviews coming as well. So just stay tuned. I know the group's working on some reviews. So, but thank you as always for the support, listeners. Chat, you've been awesome. Thank you very much for hanging out with us. Guys, anything to add before we head out?
Nope. Yes, next week here on Sunday at 10 a.m. Central. 11 Eastern, 9 Eastern? What is
11
that?
Eastern.
11 Eastern.
How is it 9 Eastern if it's 10 Central? Dan, come on.
Listen, I don't know what time it is now, so it's so early in the morning. Earlier for Travis, so I feel even worse.
He doesn't know what time it is. He doesn't leave his house. He just flies over.
Like I slept so hard, right? I have no idea what even the day is. So there's too much going on.
I see Gaz in the chat. What's up, Gaz? Good to see you. You said 1v1 Ains anytime, Gaz. Anytime you want, my friend.
Cool. Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at TieGuyTravis. You can read my articles on IGN.com. I'm on the Last Word on Fridays, here on Sundays. And check out IGN's IGN First that just ended. That's all coverage on the Steam Deck. We have a fantastic interview with Gabe Newell from Ryan McCaffrey, one of the video game industry goats. So, yeah, check that out, and see you next week.
There you go. Thank you, guys. Been awesome. We will see you next Sunday morning. Thank you, guys. Till then.